Good morning class. So today we are going to start the third part of this chapter, that is electrostatic potential and capacitance. Today we are going to start with the topic called sphere. Okay, so basically here we will see first how many types of spheres are possible. So we may call the first type of sphere like hollow sphere. Okay, and or all these are called thin shells also. And after that hollow spheres is further divided into conducting and non-conducting. Okay, means the first category will be like a thin shell, you can understand, and in thin shell there is material only in this outer region. Inside there is no material present, and this material about which we are talking, this material is present. This material either may be this may be a metal, or this material may be insulator. So based on that, further hollow sphere is further classified into two categories. One is called conducting metallic hollow sphere, as I told you. Second is called non-conducting, or you can say it is made up of insulator or dielectric materials. Okay, second category we have solid spheres. In solid spheres, basically it is again of two type, that is called conducting and non-conducting. So as you can see here in the diagrams, the first diagram I have made, that is, again you can see this is hollow sphere. Okay, and in hollow also this boundary, you can say, or this material, this shaded material, this is basically some metal. It may be iron, it may be copper, or like that. Okay, this is called hollow metallic spheres. So property is that if you will provide any charge to this metal, then in that case that all charge will resides on its surface only. Means no amount of charge will enter inside the material, or on the inner side or inner surface of the material, or inside this cavity. Means all charge will appear on the surface only, and it will be distributed uniformly. If you are providing charge at this particular point only, then it automatically distribute itself, okay, on its surface. So that why it distributes automatically, because it has to maintain the electric field inside the material zero. For that it may arrange itself by automatically. Okay, next you can see the example I have taken, that is again a hollow sphere. As you can see here, we have nothing but cavity, means empty space, you can say, and this is the material. Okay, not a circle, this is a sphere, but this is hollow sphere. But this time this material, instead of taking metal, we have taken some material which is called insulator or dielectric materials. Okay, with the help of insulator, you can say, we have made this sphere, and property of this sphere is also same, that if you will provide some charge, it will appear only on the upper surface or outer surface, you can say. No charge will enter inside the spheres. This is the property. So basically your hollow spheres, whether it is of metal or it is of non-metal, both have the similar charge pattern. Okay, if someone asks you that suppose you have a point P at a distance x from its center, and here also you have a point P which is which has the same distance x from its center, then it may be asked to you that what is the electric field at this point. You will say kq upon r square. And if it is asked that what is the electric field in this case, you will say again E equal to kq upon r square. Means properties of charges will not vary. Okay, because these are basically, just try to understand, instead of electric field I can ask you potential also. In that case also you will say that is kq upon r, and here also kq upon, if this distance is r. Okay, or if you have taken it x, you can just apply x only. Okay, I mean to say kq upon x, like that. Okay, so thing is that all these are like electric field and voltage. Okay, electric field, electric potential, all these are properties of charge. Remember it, these are not properties of mass. Means electric field doesn't depends on mass, or calculation of voltage does not depend on mass. So we can say whether your sphere is heavy or lightweight, that doesn't matter. All these properties are related with charge. If you have provided equal amount of charge, then all these values will be have same magnitude. Okay. Now here you can see I have taken one more example, that is of solid metal ball. Like we have a solid sphere this time, but again we have provided the charge, and you know that all charge you are trying to provide it, that will appear on the surface only. Okay, no amount of charge will enter inside the surface. So thing is what, then at any distance x from its center, you can say, if I ask you potential, then it will give you same value, that is kq upon x, and electric field will also give the same value, that is kq upon r square. Same means the same result which we got with the help of hollow spheres and hollow non-metal, okay, spheres. So thing is that again you can see that this law is verified, that all these are properties like electric potential or electric field, these are properties of charge. If you will vary amount of charge, only then these property will vary. Okay, otherwise these properties never depends on mass. Basically it appears that solid sphere is heavy, so that doesn't affect our result. Now we have one more case, that is of you can say that is of solid sphere, but in solid sphere our you can say the material is not conductor. Okay, in that case what we can say, if this is not a conductor, this is non-conductor. Yesterday, or you can say in previous lecture, we have done the similar kind of problem where I told you that from its center at a distance x, your electric field was not 0. In fact it was given by kqx upon rq in this form. Okay, this was the formula for electric field from the center. If you will keep on increasing x, your electric field will keep on increasing. Suppose if you put x equal to r, means you are talking about surface point, means for this point you can say your x equal to r. In that case you can say that your electric field will comes out to be kq upon r square by solving. So this expression holds true for this case. And remember, this case is what, when your material or when your sphere is solid, okay, but it is not made up of metal, it is made up of non-metallic thing, and in that case your charge will I will not say it will enter inside the cavity. If you will provide into the cavity portion, or you can say inside this portion, only then it will remain in this form. Okay, so here you can also check that charge in whole volume can present. Okay, if we provide, then it can present. So next concept is what, that is called earthing. In earthing, basically when we connect any conductor to earth, then we can say that potential of earth is always 0 volt, and in that case when conductor is earth, then we can say that potential of conductor also become 0. Okay, and charge need not to be 0. Okay, here are some points. Basically you will understand these concepts in detail when we will study about capacitors, in which we provide some amount of charge to one plate and another plate got induction charge, suppose minus q and plus q. Okay, suppose this rod will have some thickness also, then due to induction suppose here you have provided plus 5, and due to induction at one surface minus 5q will appear, and on the other surface plus 5q will appear. Now in that case, if you will connect that metal with the earth, in that case you can say that the outer surface will have 0 potential, but overall this whole plate will not have 0 charge, that will have minus 5 coulomb charge. Okay, so how this happens, we will talk about that when we will learn about the capacitors. So important result you can say over here are given in this form, like charge only flow when there is potential difference. If there is no potential difference, no charge will flow. charge flow from higher potential to lower potential. Basically it is talking about positive charge, and here it is also mentioned that positive charge flow from higher potential to lower potential and negative charge flows from lower potential to higher potential. I don't think these things have to be explained again and again. I have already discussed all these things. Means you can say, if again you want to understand, I will again give the same example which I gave in my previous lectures, that suppose if you have provided any amount of charge to this sphere, suppose 5 microcoulomb. Actually, why I am taking microcoulomb, because in this chapter you will get to know that 1 coulomb charge is very bigger unit, and 1 coulomb charge exists, but for making 1 coulomb charge we have to contribute to a huge number of electrons. Okay, and basically if you have learned about metals, only one ionization, first ionization or second ionization is possible. Means to extract 1 electron or to extract 2 electrons are only possible conditions, and to extract third electron is very difficult. So it is very difficult actually to provide amount of charge to any metal or to extract electron. However, there are other methods by which we can give at least up to microcoulomb charge. Okay, so for simplicity we always take in numerical 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb, just to ignore this term micro, but you can understand that it is not practically possible. So here we come to our main topic, that is, suppose if I have given a metallic body a charge of 5 microcoulomb, then suppose if I ask you that I have a point P at a distance of say 1 meter from its center, then what is the potential at this center, at this point P? Or you can say, here you may get an clear idea about it, that suppose if I have given some amount of charge, or for simplicity let me take 5 coulomb only. However, I told you that 5 coulomb is the bigger unit, but for that you now you can consider only that 5 coulomb charge we have given to a metal body, and I am saying that one point is P there, which is at 1 meter distance, and another point is Q, which is at a distance of 2 meter from its center C. Okay, so if I ask you what is the potential at P, you can tell me that potential at P is KQ upon R, simple, and potential at Q is again what, KQ upon R, but that R is 2 meter. So we can clearly see from these two equations that potential at P is actually greater than potential at Q. And similarly, if I ask you about electric field, then you can say that electric field at P is greater than electric field at Q. Now suppose if I have placed any positive amount of charge, then you know that positive amount of charge always moves from along the electric field line, because some force QE will act on this particular charge plus Q. So we can say that if we provide plus Q charge on P, then it will move from P to Q. Why? Because electric field is acting in this direction. But we have made the one statement from this concept only, that if we provide plus Q charge, then it will always move from P to Q. Then we are saying that it moves from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, similarly if we provide negative charge, then it will be attracted towards this positive charge. Okay, similarly you can say that positive charge was get repelled by this positive charge, that is also true. But if you provide minus Q charge, then it will get attracted towards this, or you can say a negative charge always moves opposite to the electric field, because opposite to electric field one QE force act on it. Okay, so thing is that we can say that if we provide minus Q charge, then it will always move from Q to P. Then we can say that it moves from lower potential to higher potential. Now next property that is very important, and this thing is also given in your NCERT in form of numerical. In additional exercise you can see one numerical is given. If we connect two cells, then all charges on inner cell will come to the outer cell, and you have to prove this. Okay, this may be asked to you 3 number question, and this is conceptual question and very good problem. So I have made a new diagram for you. As you can see, the outer sphere is given to the 5 coulomb charge, and this charge is uniformly distributed, and on the inner sphere we have provided 3 coulomb charge. This is uniformly distributed. Outer sphere is named as 2 and inner sphere is named as 1. Inner sphere has a radius r1 and outer has radius r2, and I have connected this with a wire. Then I want to know that from where to where my charge will flow. Okay, so we know that charge flows from higher potential to lower potential. In that case we have to find out that which one has a greater potential, inner sphere, okay, v1, or outer sphere v2. Or you can say like first I will calculate the potential of inner sphere, okay, that is v2. Then I will calculate potential of inner sphere v1, and I will try to check which one is greater. So if I ask you potential of 2 means outer sphere, you will say it is kq upon r, k into, due to its own charge it will be k5 upon its own radius, that is r2, plus due to the inner sphere also it will get some potential, and that will be k3 upon r. Now which r I should take, r1 or r2? Now think, is for this inner sphere, this 3 coulomb charge, this sphere 2 is in its outer region, okay, so we will concentrate 3 coulomb charge placed at the center, and due to this 3 coulomb charge, this outer sphere, for this outer sphere your radius will be r2 only, so we will write it k3 upon r2. This is the potential of outer sphere. Now if I ask you what is potential of inner sphere, then you will say due to its own charge, 3 coulomb charge, its value will be k3 upon r1, and due to the outer region or 5 coulomb charge, potential at each point, not only on this sphere, although we can say that on empty space your potential is constant due to 5 coulomb charge, and that will be kq upon r2. So if I want to know which is greater, I will subtract v1 from v2, okay. If this value comes out to be positive, then you can understand that v2 has a greater magnitude and v1 has a lesser magnitude, and if this value comes out to be negative, in that case you can understand that v2 has lesser value and v1 is greater, okay. So we can subtract any quantity from anyone. Now tell me, if you have a k5 upon r2 and you want to subtract all these terms, what you will get? This negative, 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 and k3 upon r2 and k3 upon r1, this will not be cancelled out, and k5 upon r2 and k5 upon r2, this will be cancelled out. So our answer will be what? Our answer will be k3 upon r2 minus k3 upon r1. This will be our answer. Now you can understand which terms is greater if I ask you this one or this one. Now tell me, r2 is greater than r1, okay. So if r2 is greater than r1, then we can say that we are dividing k3 means k into 3, we are dividing this number by a higher number. R2 is greater, higher number, so our answer will be less, and we are dividing the same numerator by a lesser number, you can say r1, so our answer will be high or of greater magnitude, okay. So we can say overall this term v2 minus v1 is negative. Our answer we got negative. That means what? That means v1 is greater than v2. So in any case you can prove that potential of inner sphere is always higher than outer sphere. So charge will necessarily flow from inner sphere to outer sphere, okay. We can take one more case. If we take a negative charge also, in that case you can see your result will be same. You can verify the same by taking instead of this plus 3, take minus 3 coulomb, or you can do one more thing, take minus 5 coulomb, here you can take plus 3 coulomb. Now this thing you have to do at your home, that you have to make different combinations basically of charges. Sometime it is positive, this one is negative, then this is negative, this is positive, or both are negative. In each case you will see that your potential will have the same result, okay. You can verify it also. Now we will Now we will move for the next topic. So conclusions are given over here. You can say these are result of all the, you can say these are the result of those questions we have just solved. That till here we have done. If we connect two shells, then all charges on inner shell will come to the outer shell surface. Why? Because inner will have always higher potential and charge always flows from higher to lower. If we connect two conductor, then their potential will become equal. Okay, it is also true. So all these are properties. Now see the next topic. Next we have charge distribution on inner and outer surface of thin, thin cell, conducting cell. Like how charge will be distributed. Suppose if we have thin conducting shell, okay, then some charge is placed at the center. Then if we zoom this picture, I mean to say that if we just this straight line, you can say that this straight line will also have some thickness. Okay, I am talking about this shell, or basically your thin shell also have some thickness that is negligible. Okay, and they are saying that some charge is placed at the center. I hope you understood the case. Then in that case, suppose plus q charge is kept at the center, then minus q will appear on the inner sphere, you know it by induction, and plus q will appear on the outer sphere, and this is the thickness. This is what your thickness. Why this happens? Because inside the material we should have our electric field equal to 0. Okay, for that it is necessary that induction of charge will take place. You have proved all these things with the help of Gauss law. So just think like if we have a positive charge plus q at the center, and someone says that, and one more thing, this is metal, you know it very well, we have considered it. And suppose someone says that if I will not distribute any amount of charge on the inner surface, then what is the problem in that case? Okay, so problem will be like suppose if you do not provide any induced charge on the inner surface. In that case, if I ask you that what is the radiation, just try to think. We have a point inside a material, inside this metal. If I ask you what is the electric field at this point P, you know that by property it is 0. By property of conductor, your electric field is 0 inside the metal or material, okay, for conducting material. But if I say how much flux or how much light, you can imagine how much radiation will come out of this dot spheres. Okay, so you will say that on this sphere, if we apply the Gauss law, then total flux coming out of this region only, I am talking about this shaded region, this dotted region, then you know that flux is 0. Okay, or you can say that flux is given by basically E dot ds. I told you this was the mathematical way to calculate, and this flux is given by total inside charge. Inside charge means total charge present in this dotted region, total charge present in this particular space, divided by epsilon naught, should be equal to E dot ds, and electric field is 0. Okay, so we will say that our whole value will come out to be 0, or in short we can say that our charge inside of this shaded region should be equal to 0. But if we see this diagram carefully, we don't find it 0. In fact, we say that charge is not 0. In fact, it is plus q. Okay, how can we say it is 0? That means what? There is some invisible charge. I don't know where it is placed, but there is some charge, and that charge has exactly the same magnitude as that of plus q, but has opposite nature. Okay, if plus q is present, then minus q is also present, which is not visible to us. Only then I will say that charge is a scalar quantity, and my net charge is 0. Now question is that where I should place this charge. In empty space in air I cannot put this charge. So where I have to put this negative charge, I will place this negative charge at this surface. Why on this surface? Because charge always need material on which it can stay, you can understand. But thing is that you can say, sir, charge you can provide inside this shaded part, inside the dotted part we have this much material also, you can provide here also, but I cannot provide. Why? Because inside material it cannot exist. Now again it is a new question, why inside material it cannot exist at this place, that I have explained you in chapter number 1. So all charge will come to its surface only, okay, and here it will come. Then from where this minus charge got appeared, actually here we have many atoms, just try to think. From those atoms some negative charge, some electron has appeared over here, and we got positive ions inside this metal, and positive charge cannot remain inside metal, so it will appear on the outer surface. All positive charge, all positive ion, you can say Na positive, will appear over here, and one electron of negative charge will come to the here, will come to this place. I am not talking about Na only, I can take any other material also, I am just giving an example of metal. So all positive charge will appear on the outer surface, and this positive charge together makes a value equal to plus q only. In that case only we can say our electric field at this point P will be 0 and this condition will be satisfied. Okay, now next thing what we have, that electric field inside a material of conductor is 0 under electrostatic condition, that I have explained you. Which conditions are these? सरफेस पे चार्ज सेम होना चाहिए, okay, for surface the charge should be same, and equipotential surface means this charge I am talking about, this plus q and this minus q, this should be same for a surface.